Hi, welcome to another episode of Cooking with the Dad. I'm in my happy place today. I'm in my sauna. And I'm going to be cooking something pretty hot today. Indian tandoori chicken in a buttercream sauce. It's delicious. And that buttercream sauce is way better than anything you're going to get in a jar from the grocery store, believe me. It takes about an hour and a half to cook. You might give yourself a lot longer time though, because you're going to need to do some marinating of that there chicken before you go. It involves using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. They're good for you, but the sauce ain't low calorie, let me tell you. It's spicy hot, and you'll love it. So let's get going. Tandoori butter chicken a la the dad. For the tandoori chicken, you'll need 2.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, a teaspoon of salt, preferably kosher salt, the juice of 1 lemon or about 2 tablespoons of Minute Maid frozen lemon juice, 15 ounces of plain yogurt, 1 peeled medium onion quartered, 1 inch cube of peeled ginger root, 1 jalapeno pepper, and 3 tablespoons of yellow food coloring and a half a tablespoon of red food coloring. For the butter sauce, you're going to need 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. If you get it in a tube, they comes in either double or triple strength. Either one's fine. 1 inch cube of fresh ginger root, which you're going to grate. A cup of half and half. A quarter cup of heavy whipping cream. 1 teaspoon of Garam Masala. 3/4 teaspoons of salt. A quarter teaspoon of sugar. 1 finely chopped jalapeno pepper. A quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper. 1 tablespoon finely chopped cilantro, a teaspoon of roasted cumin seed that's ground, and we'll show you how to do that. 1 stick of unsalted butter, and then, of course, the tandoori chicken, which you have already hopefully made. 2 tools that I think would be useful other than your normal pots and pans, etc., and sheet pans. A food processor, a good sized food processor, is really, I think, important here. You could probably get by without it, but man, I think it would make life a hell of a lot easier. In a pinch, you might be able to use a blender. The other thing I think is useful is either a spice grinder, or I prefer a stone mortar and pestle for grinding spices, especially the roasted cumin. Okay, so the first step in making the tandoori chicken, which will be in the butter chicken, is to get about 2.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Now you could use bone-in chicken thighs, but you have to take the skin off. You can leave the bone in. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut slits in each of these, and then we're going to have them marinate in the salt and lemon juice for about 20 minutes. Now you notice here I've got 2 different sizes. So you've got, the people who really like the hot, big, fat, juicy, voluptuous thighs, and then the skinny prep school thighs. So you could have either kind. Now when you make the cuts, don't go all the way through. What you're just trying to do is make some slots so that the marinade, the first marinade and the second marinade that we're going to have, gets in there nicely. So if you had bones in here, you would want to be cutting down through the flesh into the bones. And if you use breast meat, which I don't suggest because I think that the thigh meat's a lot better, a lot more flavorful. You'd just don't use breast meat, man. That shit's dry. Man, this stuff is the best. Nice, dark, juicy. Oh, look at those, man. Delicious. Now that we have the chicken slitted, and we've got it in, notice I'm using a glass pan because it's best to marinate in glass. Don't try to marinate stuff in metal. You're going to ruin the metal, especially if it's aluminum. Get a nice fat teaspoon of kosher salt. You could use regular salt too, but kosher's way. Don't use regular salt. You shouldn't have regular salt. It should be kosher salt. And now you get in there and work it with your hands. Kind of work it really well. Work it good. Yeah, get it all massaged and all ready. Because now we're going to get some a juice of either 1 lemon, or I would say probably a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of lemon juice if you get the frozen Minute Maid kind, which, except for like cooking, I think works just fine. It's way easier. But if you got lemons, you know how to squeeze lemons, right? I think we're going to use the lemon juice. That's what I'm talking about. Minute Maid lemon juice. You get it in the freezer section where the other juice is, and I'm just going to squirt about that much. That's probably about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. Remember that citric acid, work that baby in there. That's going to start the cooking process, actually. And I think it just goes without saying, after you handle raw poultry, wash your hands really good. And dry them. So next we're going to make the marinade of yogurt base for the chicken. So we're going to use about 15 to 16 ounces, that's one of these containers, of plain yogurt. Now you could use Greek yogurt, but plain yogurt's actually probably better in this case. Usually when you're cooking, Greek yogurt's going to be a better choice, but plain yogurt's good here. That's going to go in that thing there. You might need a fucking spoon for that, man. Anyway, so you dump that crap in there, and then a piece of ginger peeled about 1 inch long. Use fresh ginger. Don't go getting the other stuff. I mean, you're making this effort now, so throw that baby in there. 1 peeled garlic clove, and if you know how to peel garlic, the easiest way is to smash it, and then pick off the skin. It goes in there. Take a jalapeno, just roughly chopped. You don't have to take the seeds out. 1 good size, I'd say medium onion, kind of quartered. You don't have to go crazy about cutting that either, because we're going to be running it in the microwave, okay? So then we're going to be putting in the yogurt, and then 2 teaspoons of Garam Masala. You can get that in a lot of good stores, but definitely in a specialty store. That's going to go in there. Oh man, it smells good. Just Garam Masala is a mixture of some kind of Indian spices. So the only thing we got left is yogurt, and then we're going to chop it up. Pulse in it. You want to get the one that's going to be the trickiest to do is going to be that big hunk of ginger. You want to, that's why pulsing it helps a lot, at least at the beginning. I think you get a lot better shots and stuff with the pulse. So what you want to do is you want to get it pretty fine. So here's a step you probably could get away with not doing, but I typically do this, is you take this mixture that you just run through the food processor, you put it through a sieve. You know, these things are handy to have, and they don't cost a lot of money. Worth getting. So now what you got is you got this, and it run, and then you take a rubber thing, not a metal thing, and what you're doing is you're basically just pushing.
It's called a spatula?
It's called a spatula, Mom says, okay. See, I'm going to squish that crap through there. Kind of stir it in there. You want to get it until it's pretty dry. You want to get that liquid out, because that's what's going to, you know, so the yogurt's got acid in it. And Mom, I'm sure, could tell you all the biology. You probably know it anyway. How does yogurt do this, Dan?
What is it that we're asking the yogurt to do?
Marinade.
Oh, well, the lactic acid in the yogurt is going to allow the yogurt to interact with the muscle fibers by partially dissolving the chemical bonds within the muscle fibers.
There you have it. Okay, so this stuff has been marinating in that lime salt juices for about 20 minutes. And now the next step is we're going to turn that sucker into an orange color. And to do that, we're going to use food coloring. Now, here's some tips here. Food coloring comes in 2 ways. It comes in boxes like this. Notice the colors, red, yellow, green, and blue. Or you can buy individual bottles like this red food coloring. But as it turns out, you can't buy orange food coloring. They don't make it. Now, you might find something like this. It says pure orange extract. Don't use that stuff.
That's flavoring.
It's flavoring. And the reason I have it is I did choose this stuff. And it doesn't turn anything orange, and it makes everything taste like orange. Not using that. The other thing is if you've got lots of red, but not yellow, and I'll tell you why in a minute why you're gonna have lots of red, you might be tempted to get lemon extract because that's supposed to be yellow, right? Now, don't do that either.
That's flavoring.
That's flavoring. So what you want is food coloring. All right, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna use about 3 tablespoons of yellow coloring. Hey, shut the hell up.
There's somebody in the driveway.
Oh, somebody in the driveway. Oh, yeah. And just a small bit of red. So this is, you're going to use all the yellow stuff. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to mix it in this thing here before you put it on the chicken. Oh man, it's not really hot at all. Well, I think this thing isn't working anymore.
Well, it's a good thing you got an early enough start.
Why? Well,
Then you can just marinate it the regular way for 6 hours.
yeah, but damn it.
You might want to edit this part.
It's not on anymore. I turned it off. Okay, since the vacuum sealer didn't work, what I've done is to put these into a Ziploc bag. Try to force out as much air as I could. I cleaned out the dish it was marinated in, and I'm going to set it on here. And then Mom says if you put weight on it, it drives it. So I'm going to put some weight on it and put it in her fridge. And then in about 4 hours or so, I'll be ready to cook it. What the hell are you doing? Get out of here. Out, out, out. Okay, we've taken our chicken out of the refrigerator that's been marinating. I think we've had it marinating now for about 3 hours, which is suboptimum, but it's what we got. Ideally 6 overnight would even be better. So we're going to take it out. We're going to we basically just shake off the marinade. We're not going to use the marinade. We're going to discard it. And then we're going to put the chicken onto a cookie sheet. And here I've got the, what do you call those non-stick things?
A Silpat.
A Silpat. Silicone. If you don't have one of these things, you put aluminum foil down on there and then spray it with like a Pam. But do put aluminum foil on there because this stuff is going to stick. And while we're doing this, we're going to be preheating our oven to a whopping 500 degrees. Because what we're going to try to do is to sort of simulate the heat of a tandoor oven. And we've got the rack at the top shelf. When the oven reaches its temp, 500 here, I put it in on the top shelf and it's going to bake for 25 minutes. All right, here's the tandoor chicken just got out. Again, I wish it had been a little bit more red. I'm going to flip this over a little. And I'm going to give it 2 minutes under the broiler on the other side so we get a nice kind of charriness to it. I could keep it on high. I'm going to put it in broil. So broil, and I'm going to put that back in the oven. Just a couple minutes just to get a nice char on the other side. Then we're going to be making the butter sauce. Okay, this was under the broiler for about 2.5 minutes and it browned up nicely. You can see what a mess this makes. That's why having aluminum foil on here is a good idea. For the butter chicken sauce, we start out, we put 4 tablespoons of tomato paste into a large container. Now we're going to add water so that we get 1 full cup. Okay, there. I'm going to mix that up. Basically, we're making a tomato sauce here. Now I grated a 1-inch cube of ginger and I put it in here. I'm going to stir that up in there. You could also use the ginger paste if you had that. It's good. The next thing to do is to add a cup of half and half. But what I'm going to do here, because I've got some leftover of this coconut cream, so I'm going to need to get up to 2 cups total. So I'm going to add this in first. Might as well use it. Then I'm going to add in the half and half to bring this up to 2 cups. There. Now I'm going to add 2 ounces of heavy cream. Now you probably could just do half and half, but we're trying to replicate single cream in England. So right about there. I'll put the rest of that there. There we go. Now it goes in 3/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of Garam Masala and a 1/4 teaspoon of regular sugar. We're gonna chop up a jalapeno and we put that in there as well. We got us a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Now we chop up a tablespoon very finely of cilantro. Put that baby in there like so. Yipper. And we're going to put in 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, and I'm going to use the frozen lemon juice. That's 1, and I'll just put in 3 more now. Okay, we've got a heavy pan here, fairly heavy pan, small. I've had it on medium-high heat for about a minute, and now I'm just going to pour in some cumin seed, and I'm going to do quite a bit because this is handy to have, and it's good to do this all at once for a big meal. And you can sometimes buy roasted cumin seed. It's not as good because what you want to do is you want to release those aromatic oils right away. They're going to deteriorate very quickly. So you want to have it on hand for one particular cook, and it's so easy to do. You can smell it already. Give it a shake, and you can grind this up with a mortar and pestle if you want to do that, or you can just sprinkle it on unground, which is what this recipe is going to call for. And it's really good to have, but you don't want to burn this too. You know, about a minute or 2, keep it stirred. You can smell it. Can you smell it? Ooh, I can smell it. Oh, that roasted is really good. So now what we got to do is we had that roasted cumin that we made earlier, and I want to get a teaspoon of it ground. In order to do that, either you got to have a spice grinder, or what I like to use is a mortar and pestle. That's the best stuff. So I'm going to put in some of this recently roasted cumin. It'll be so good, and I'm going to grind it up. Grinding, you just rotate it in here, and I'm going to have to do it with 2 hands, and then it will go in with the butter sauce. Okay, there it is, ground up. It only took a couple seconds. Smells great, just great. And it's going to go in there. Oh man, I can't believe how good this is going to be. Stir this stuff up. Oh, look at that stuff. Just flavors abound. Oh my god. Oh, that's good. All right, so now here we go. This is the reason they call it buttered chicken. Whole stick of butter on medium heat, and melt that thing. Once it's melted, we're going to put in the sauce we just made. I'm going to mix that small sauce up really well while we're waiting with a spoon. Remember, again, this is unsalted butter. We just get it melted. And now we're going to put the butter sauce into it. And we're going to give that a good stir. I added a little bit of extra from a can of diced tomatoes. I didn't want it to go to waste, so I just throw them in there. That's just wondering what the chunks are. Chunks of this. Oh, that's good. Now, we don't have to get this boiling. We just got to get this warm, really. stir it up nicely. Make sure the butter is incorporated nicely in. And then once it's warm, we're going to just put in the tandoori chicken and Bob's your uncle. Oh, that's so good. So the tandoori chicken then gets put into the butter sauce and allowed to heat up a little bit, and then it's ready to serve. Well, there it is. Butter chicken with tandoori chicken as its base. Can't get any better than that. Well, I think the best way to serve that is maybe on some basmati rice and some of the other Indian dishes that you know I'm famous for, and we'll cover those on other episodes. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to finish my sauna, have a brewski, and don't forget, man, the dad abides. And that's a good sarsaparilla.